Hi people, and hello my Chilli Con Carnage Crew, it's Chilli here, and on this episode I'm going to check out the extreme metal giants Meshuggah's newest album, Immutable. But first, a quick rundown of the band. Meshuggah started in 1987 in Sweden with guitarist Fredrik Thordendal, and used to be called Medallion. I wonder if that's an influence by Metallica. They eventually changed some of the band members and the name to Meshuggah, a Yiddish word for crazy, and this pretty much sums up their sound rather aptly. Their styles have included extreme metal, heavy metal, progressive metal, or even djent. They're even considered the godfathers of djent. Over their 30-plus year career, the band have released 6 EPs, 2 live albums, and 9 studio albums, including this one. The band's lineup has been rather consistent, with their current lineup being made up of lead vocalist Jens Kidman, and of course everyone's favourite internet meme lord, lead guitarist and backing vocalist Fredrik Thordendal, guitarist Martin Hagstorm, bassist Dick Lovegreen, and drummer Thomas Haak. With all this out of the way, let's get into the track listing. Broken Cog is the first track, and it sounds like a freight train rolling past. Ironically, it's about as heavy as the same train. While the drumming isn't super complex, it's perfect for the opener track while touring. Foreboding guitars ring with the pounding of each tom with a steady beat which leads into the next track. The Abysmal Eye follows up, and whereas the previous track was a slow build-up, this track is an onslaught of complex polyrhythms that we have come to expect from the band. Like a choker chain applied correctly, it left me not only breathless, but slightly aroused by the depth of this song. Fuck, it'll go off in the pit. Open it up. No wonder this was the lead single from the album. Light the Shortening Fuse is next, and what a song title. The complex choppy guitar riffs give me anxiety, like someone playing with fire on a fuse and another putting it out at the same time. Somehow this song goes on the edge of the political sword with a point to be made about the madness in the world. Amazeballs. Phantoms is where the album starts to feel a bit disjointed. After the last 3 tracks, this song just chugs along as another Meshuggah track. It's a bit average to my ear. A very decent breakdown though at the very end. I have to give that credit. Ligature Marks is when the album kind of takes a bit of a left turn, and it is slow, but given the title, it's either about strangulation or is literally speaking about the musical notes. Either is really no surprise. With Meshuggah, there's about as much subtlety as a hammer to the face. I guess strangulation and double notes make for an interesting parallel. God He Sees in the Mirror is one masterclass into the djent scene. I can hear parts that I could expect from Devin Townsend on here, and it is in a very low tuning. Turn up your bass levels to hear God in your speakers. They Move Below is next, and is a curious song. At nearly 10 minutes long, it is the longest track on this album, and is a wondrous proggy metal masterpiece. With the song's intro and ominous build-up, we know something is coming, but are helpless to wait for what it is. For me, I picture myself being on an old boat, but maybe that's because I've been watching The Terror recently, and feel like this could fit in the scene where the guy's underwater trying to break the ice from the rudder. Oh, I forgot to mention this, but it's an instrumental track, hence my trance into a weird world. Let me know what your mind conjures up for this song on Twitter or below, and like if you have the same feeling. Maybe we have shared telepathy. Kaleidoscope is next, and man, I bet with a track like this we can expect a light and colourful track. Fuck off, this is Meshuggah. You would find lighter tracks with old school divers wearing those weighted boots going for a deep dive. Damn brutal. Black Cathedral is a musical piece that feels like a black metal guitar track. Yeah, it's interesting, but I feel like something could have been made a bit more from the riff. There was potential, and I feel it was kind of missed. I Am That Thirst is the next track, and it's got an interesting editing choice leading into the track before. Ignoring this, the song itself was the 3rd single from the album, and isn't too shabby. I'm not overly fussed by the track, but I can see why people are drawn to it. The Faultless is one badass track. Guitar solos with stomping double kickers and chopped guitar riffage make up your classic Meshuggah style. I love also their doomy riff that feels like the end of the world, along with the vocal editing that jumps between both left and right stereos. Just awesome editing. The low vocals towards the end as well just cap off the end of the world feeling. Armies of the Preposterous is just bone-shattering drumming with Thomas Hark at his best. Can we get an ad showing Thomas Hark drumming this song against the Energizer Bunny and see who lasts longer? Who do you think would win? Comment below or on Twitter. Past Tense is the album Closer, and it is a soft track in comparison to the rest of the album, definitely much more quieter. An instrumental piece that feels like a track to take it all in and gather your thoughts. Undoubtedly will be the last track that they play live, but probably just over the speakers. For a long while I was put off from listening to Meshuggah because I felt their songs were too similar in sound, and after listening to them more I can confirm this to still be true. On surface level any artist can sound the same from track to track, but Meshuggah are pretty consistently indistinguishable even from album to album. This is both a pro and a con. If you love their heavy brand of music, then it's a huge win. If you're expecting variety typical of the metal scene, then maybe stick with Dream Theater. I guess I sit somewhere in the middle. I like a few of their tracks on their other albums, but could never get into the full albums, except Chaos Fear. That album really is wicked. This album sits somewhere in the middle of the road with me, with some amazing tracks, and some others that just sound like cookie cutter songs. The opening 3 tracks are very impressive to hear in succession, but after that the tracks start to sound a little dissimilar. When it gets to the song They Move Below, that's when I hear the band starting to really stretch out a bit and try something different. And it's one of the highlights of the album, which takes it out of that copy-paste formula that I mentioned before. But after that, it returns somewhat to this style. I guess I need to be in the right mood to fully appreciate Meshuggah as well, as I found out after replaying them and going back to their previous albums. In the end though, as much as I love heavy tracks, I also enjoy a bit of variety within the albums. I get that Meshuggah are not going to do any of this, and if you are in the mood for something downright brutally heavy, then this is a great album I would recommend. However, don't expect much contrast within. Overall, I would still rate this album very highly and give it 1 million chilies on the chili scale. I may sound negative with what I've mentioned earlier, but those are just my gripes, which I just wanted to air, and maybe you guys can let me know below if you agree or disagree. This album has a lot of positive tracks that really outweigh the aforementioned points. To me, the best tracks are Broken Cog, The Abysmal Eye, and They Move Below. I do have to say that I read somewhere that Meshuggah were going to slow down due to their age, and I struggle to hear it, to be honest, and it is very impressive if they have, or maybe I'm just looking at it from the outside looking in. Anyway, listen to this album, it's out now. Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please consider liking it and sharing it with your friends. And also don't forget to subscribe to our Chilli Con Carnage Crew to stay updated on our newest videos. We're also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Live Listen Erased. Please join us on those media platforms for all kinds of updates and discussions regarding music. And as always, stay spicy.